Yeah.
All right, are we ready? We're live, we're live, we're live.
Are we?
I
It's still
think so.
spinning. Good morning, Marriage Matters family. All
Good
right, we are live
morning.
this morning. We are 3 minutes behind.
We're live
So
and late.
live and late. So please forgive us.
Oh,
She's getting Instagram connected,
I am.
but we are ready for you. Hopefully you are ready for us. Hope you had a great week. It is Easter weekend. We're very thankful
And those
for.
who were off yesterday.
Yeah, I was working yesterday. I was doing plumbing work, so I wasn't off. I was off for a little while, but I enjoyed the day. Definitely enjoyed the sunset. It looked really good yesterday. The sun was amazing yesterday. So it is Saturday. It is April the 3rd, and we're going to get started. She's getting ready to get us on with Instagram, but we greatly appreciate have things to do on a Saturday to hang out with us just for a moment. So, our lesson for today is going to scripture will be coming from 1 John 4 and 18. And so I'm going to read that in a second once you get situated over there. We're trying to make sure that our lighting is good. You going to cut the light on?
Yeah, that might work.
Yeah, put the light on there, lady. See if we can get a little extra here.
Well, we just discombobulated this morning.
Is it on? Oh, there we go. Ooh, light us up.
Too bright?
Ooh, yeah. Come on, there we go. That's kind of bright too.
And
But as we
how
say,
about
good
that? There
morning.
you go.
LaWanda, are you actually on, or are you like typing something and doing something else? Don't be multitasking. Are you actually on, Miss LaWanda?
So good morning again. We missed you last week.
Yes, we sure do. We have on Jeremy's shirts, and we just want to promote Mr. Jeremy
Roses.
Rosas for his new clothing line. I forgot what he called it, but there's a way for you to get it, and we'll make sure that we can kind of point you in the right direction. So let me read the scripture for today. Instagram is very clear.
Yeah, we're on.
I raised the camera up high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're not going to get missed anymore. We ain't going to have that problem.
All right.
When we're not inside the camera view. It says, there is no fear in love.
Oh, read it again for Instagram.
Oh, sorry. The scripture is 1 John chapter 4 and verse number 18. I need my readers. It's not working for me, but I'm not gonna worry about it. So it says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. And I know in the King James version it says, cast out fear. Mm-hmm. Because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made in perfect love. So I'm going to read it again. 1 John chapter 4 and verse number 18. There is no fear in love, mm-hmm. but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. So, we talked last week. We had some real good conversation. Yeah. We really thank you all for just really diving in and, really just speaking, to your heart and what you experienced. So, today, we're going to be talking about, how love is brave. Do you have my cell phone?
I do not.
Okay.
Need it? Oh, you need it, don't you?
Yeah, I do need my cell phone. So, I want you to tell me or think about or type into the chat, what is your definition of brave? What does that mean? What is your definition of brave? And I hope LaWanda not the only one on here, because I don't see nobody else typing in the chat. So, Tabitha, are you here, Miss Tabitha? Did you sleep in late, Tabitha? So, type in the chat. What does it mean to be brave? What's the definition of brave? Help us out. I'm waiting. does it mean to be brave? She's bringing me my phone. All right. What does it mean to be brave, people? Come on.
So while we waiting to
Excuse me.
go ahead and invite some people in, share it, like it, invite them, tag people. Come on, let's get them in here.
Wake up, people, because we're trying to wake up too. I know it. I know it. I know it.
We had a great Friday, even though I had to work.
Yeah, we just had a nice time, and we was hanging out for a long time. Looked at a movie with our daughter after she got off work, and then we still found some time to sit out on that porch.
The porch talk with Johnsons.
So, what does it mean to be brave? What does it mean to be brave, people? I will say that it could be, I don't know what's going on with that, but it's not doing what I need. Can you take care of that for me?
Trying to get the definition?
Yeah. I'm going to say in my little two-sentence definition or two-word definition, it's like the absence of fear is to be brave. So, it says ready to face and endure danger or pain, showing courage. Ready to face and endure danger or pain, showing courage. And Lawana said brave means doing what you have to do in the midst of battles in your own mind. Yeah. I can agree with that.
Serious.
Yeah. It's that, what movie did we see? I think, what did we look? We looked at
Hobbs versus Shaw.
We looked at Hobbs versus Shaw. She wanted
for a second
time. But then on Thursday we looked at the Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, that was pretty good. It was long. It was like looking at two movies.
It'll keep you engaged, though.
Yeah, it'll definitely keep you engaged. But the focus today is really on how brave are you when we talk about your marriage, when we talk about our marriage, when we talk about the relationship that we have. How brave are you? And is your love consistent? When we say love is brave, is it consistent with the scripture that we read? That perfect love casts out fear, that it removes fear and doubt. Because fear actually has to do with punishment. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about in your marriage, no matter what you have to face, like you said, in the midst of battles in your mind.
Right.
Are you willing? Are you able? Do you want to engage in being brave?
Right.
Having a brave conversation, having a brave ear to listen to the truth, all of those type of things that some of us shy away from because we don't want to actually deal with it. So,
and I want to put this out there too. I know we didn't talk about this, and sometimes you just click on things, but it caught my attention just now. This was saying 8 signs you are an incredibly brave person. But I'm gonna read these because it just kind of hit home with me. It says you try to learn more about yourself in life.
Okay.
That's one.
That's the scary one.
That's the scary one because if you've had a difficult past or had a lot of trauma from your past, and if you want to learn more about yourself in life, sometimes it causes, well, not sometimes.
That reflection.
You have to reflect on your past. Think about where you are and how both of those are going to get you to your future. Because whether good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, it has molded and shaped you for your future.
That's right.
This is another scary one, but shows that you're brave. You share your thoughts and feelings with others. And that's a thought provoker there, because if you and your spouse are not in that place, then you still got to work to get to that place to be able to share your thoughts and feelings just within your spouse.
We didn't go to the cinema. We went to the cinema living room. My son has HBO Max, and he sent us the link, and we looked at the movie here. So That's an important thing. Go back to that. It says you share your thoughts and feelings with others. And and if we take out the others and we just centralize it to your spouse, are you even brave enough to do that? Are you brave enough to share your inner thoughts and your feelings with your spouse? You might not want to do it with others as of now, but you should be able to do that with your spouse. And if you feel like that's not an area you want to go to, or if you don't feel comfortable in that, then you need to ask yourself, why do you not feel that sharing something intimate or something that really troubles you with your spouse?
But then that takes you back to number one. You have to learn more about yourself.
So that you can do that.
Exactly. But here's the kicker with number two. It says, and we say it all the time, being vulnerable enough to open what is inside takes courage. And that takes a lot because you don't know what you're going to get on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Is your spouse willing to even receive, listen, or they even in the mindset? So it's a lot of work that we're talking about here, and that's just two things we talked about.
Yeah. And it said 8. So
the one that said, I have shared with the wrong people at times, and that's why that scripture that say, try the spirit by the spirit, that's a light bulb. Now I get it, because everybody's not for you.
Yeah.
Even when you feel like they are, they try to make you feel like they are. But that's why you pray and you ask God to bring those people into your lives that are for you, that's going to promote you, elevate you, uplift you, push you forward. And then you be there for somebody else.
Yeah. And if they're showing you signs, if they're showing you signs of disrespect, they're showing you signs of, I'm talking about, we talking about the others, because I don't know who the others are.
Disrespect,
disrespect, saying things that are contrary to what you personally believe in as a person, you don't share anything with those kind of people.
And we have a friend that usually be on here too, and he's not on here yet this morning, I don't think. But he always says, when people are laughing and joking and say things about you, better listen.
Yeah.
They may be saying it jokingly, but most of the time it's really what they feel in here. So those kind of things you have to pay attention to. It says you're brave if you love deeply. You're brave if you can let go.
Oh, man. Start scratching the head.
Ooh-wee.
If you can let go and not hold on to things, not be petty.
Oh, my goodness. You are brave if you respect yourself enough to say no. You have a right to bask in your own peace. What that means is you can't put a price on your peace. What that means is you cannot let people come into your area and disturb your peace, the peace that God gave to you.
I don't agree with that. LaWanda?
What she said?
She said your spouse can be the wrong person too.
Oh.
I don't believe in that. I think that goes back to number one. If you don't know yourself, and then it could be that you do know yourself and you don't want to make the change. But number two is going back to number two. You share your thoughts and feelings with others. Sometimes, you can't always gauge people's responses if they don't care.
And that's true even with your spouse.
Because I know that sometimes she'll think I don't care about something, and that's not really the case. Just because I don't give her the response that she would give if she heard it. I don't always do that. So, my thing is, with something like that, that's almost just like saying, well, I don't trust you with my heart. If you feel like sharing it with your spouse is the wrong thing. So I can't tell you how to feel, because you have to, I have to, that you be comfortable in your own skin. My whole thing was I just said I didn't agree with it.
But can I say one thing right there? If that is how you feel, that you don't trust your spouse with your heart, that's a true conversation that needs to be had. But you both have to be in the mindset to hear it, but not only that, but be in the mindset to say it appropriately, because it's still an appropriate way to say it.
Yes.
You know, not to spew it out in venom,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't do this because of this, and then come with that. You know, there's a proper way, because even in all of that, whether you agree or disagree, you still should be mindful of each other's heart, and that's a big deal right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That unequally yoked, there have to be in some context. So you don't have to say it on here, but you know, if we're not on the same page, Millicent and I, it don't mean that we're unequally yoked. If we're not on the same page. Now, if she's a Christian and I'm a Hindu, yeah, we unequally yoked. So it just depends. Good morning, Miss Charles. So
Good morning.
I want to make sure that, you know, that was a real open comment. So I want to make sure that as we proceed through today, is that how do we go back and make sure, that we apply God's word to that particular feeling or emotion, because your feeling and emotions are valid. So nobody's not, I'm not discontinuing that.
Right.
My focus is on how do you, number one, say, Lord, let me get myself together enough so that if my spouse sees that I have made a valiant effort in making a change, then they may be more prone to listen to me. But if I elicit the same identical genetic response,
right,
and the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm making it seem like if it was an identical twin. If I give the same identical genetic response to my spouse in a situation where I or they are trying to be vulnerable, and they back away or you back away, nothing has been gained.
Right.
So
to get something different, you have to do something different. So if you give your spouse, like he was saying, the same response every single time, then it's going to get to the point, well, what's the point of me even talking to you if I already know that I'm going to get the same thing? So then that goes to number 3, because I did skip over that one. If you are in that situation, you can't get your mindset changed. It's always the same thing over and over again. And if you don't know where to start to try to learn more about yourself, you feel like you're stuck, it's okay to reach out and get support.
And get some support.
Get some help. Don't nobody have to know you're doing it. Don't nobody have to know, whether it's virtual, in person, or whatever. If you are struggling with something and you cannot get past it, it's okay to get some help.
Because we were struggling with something and we could not get past it, so we reached out for some help. And that particular family was there, non-judgment zone, really asking a boatload of questions to try to make sure that any response that they elicited was nothing to do with them, but more so to do with us.
Right.
And they tried to conceptualize, well, they didn't try, they successfully conceptualized every response, every valid feeling, and they brought it to the front. And there were some quiet moments on those meetings, and there was some, it was some uncomfortableness, but it wasn't to the fact that we didn't want to do the work.
Right.
So we did the work. They continued to, we had a certain time. We talked. And we was on time. We weren't late. We called, and it was a good way to break through.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say this too, since we're being real. And sometimes before it even got to that point, because your spouse may not be receptive to that, it's okay to get the help for yourself.
Agreed.
My spouse wasn't receptive to that. Get the help for yourself. But in the midst of all of that, you still keep praying and keep God at the forefront of all of it and ask him to step in and do whatever it is he got to do. You got full free range in this marriage.
But I believe that, and I can speak from our own experience when we were having those difficulties, is that if when I saw that her response was different and it wasn't the same, even though you could see tension that it may get to that point, that shows that the person is changing.
Yeah.
So if a person shows you that, then you need to give them some credit on the fact that they didn't respond the same exact way that they did before. And if that is what's happening, you got to take that, celebrate that small win.
Yeah.
You need to speak that and say that to your spouse. You know what? I could kind of see that you were starting to boil over, but I like the fact that you did this. So, I know we might not be able to hold this conversation for all that we need to do, but I want to thank you for doing the work and, just really looking at the way that you could respond to me differently, because I wanted to really connect how my feelings was with whatever the issue was. And when you do that, I ain't going to guarantee you that it's going to be a change. It's going to be a change because they're going to see you in a different way. She saw me in a different way. I saw her in a different way. So my response was different.
Yeah.
My response was either slow down, don't say anything, listen clearly, listen effectively, listen attentively, repeat what she said, so that way if I do respond, I'm responding to what she actually said and not what I wanted to respond, my response.
Right.
Because all of you doing is gaining ammunition for your response. You really haven't conceptualized what your spouse is saying. But when you listen, be quiet, cut your mind off, and then listen to what they're saying, then you ain't have to agree with the feelings. You just need to validate that that's how the person feels.
Right.
You may not agree with the feelings. You may like, no, you tripping.
So the one that in response to you, in response to what you said, and I get that, get the help for yourself when you meeting that opposition. Continue to pray for your spouse in that area so that not only will their heart be open, but their spiritual eyes will be open so God can come in and do the work. Because you can't do nothing past human possibility.
Yeah.
Other than change your response to their reaction. Like you just said. You may not be feeling it. It may irritate you down to the very toe of your sock. But change your response. Like you said, and then once they start seeing that, it may take some time because everybody's different. But again, going back to number one, they may not be willing to go through to do the work about finding out about themselves. So it's really a work in progress. So it just comes back to your diligence, what you're willing to do, how far you're willing to go with it, and how much are you willing to release the reins and let God do what He has to do.
Yeah. And that's a valid statement, that you stop beating against the air like it's a windstorm and you trying to fight against the air and there's no opponent and you just getting tired. That's a definition of doing the same thing over and over and then expecting a different result. You cannot you can't be punching against the air. God sees the same thing. But then why is God going to come in and try to rescue somebody when they're beating against the air and they have not released total control over to Him? He'd be like, well, I'll let you suffer a little bit longer until you really, I thought you wanted to come to me about it. Because technically, you or him, y'all not getting it done the way y'all should. So if you come to me and actually let me go ahead and do some work, and then God may tell you, or He may tell him, or He may tell both of y'all this one thing. It might not be nothing. It might be the silliest thing that you think in the world, but it might be the most profound thing that can help you to focus on a certain thing. Because you got to focus on you.
Right.
You gotta be focusing on you, and you can't play into the same old thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have a vision of what you want your marriage to be,
Mm-hmm.
and you should be speaking that vision every day. An actor, and I was talking to my wife about something else,
Mm-hmm.
but if, and this is going to sound, it shouldn't sound crazy. So if let's say I'm trying to think of somebody that really had a crazy different kind of role. Um, let's say it was Idris Elba, right? And
Who?
Idris Elba,
Mm-hmm.
and so he has some different roles, but he has that strong, thick accent. But think about it when he has to change that accent to be another character.
Right, right, right.
Do you know how many times he has to read that script in
Mm-hmm.
order to be that character? That's not who Idris Elba is, but that's who he needs to be in that.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands and thousands of readings so that he can change his voice, change his attitude, because he might not even act like that. But in order to be that,
Mm-hmm.
he has to constantly keep speaking it over and over
Right.
and over again. And if you keep doing that with actions behind it,
Mm-hmm.
you will see change because it starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not he get the role because he was trying to please somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
He got the role because he needed to be somebody else in
Right.
order to make that part of that movie work. And so the reason why I'm saying that is because if you're not willing
Mm-hmm.
to really take a look
Uh-huh.
at the inside of your heart,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember we had did a lesson on a heart that was made out of steel,
Mm-hmm.
and it had rivets in it, like rivets that you put on a bridge,
Right.
and it only had a crack of space where something could get in, but that crack of space was just enough.
Just enough.
Okay, I'm gonna stop because I know you want to read.
Yeah, I want to go back and address Kawanda's question. I believe that there are many different seasons within a marriage.
Yes.
That's my answer to that. Not their relationships with people. Relationships with outside people, yes, they have a season. They have a time and a season.
Mm-hmm.
A marriage is different. That's on a different level. Um, you have to be willing to do the work. And a lot of the time, and I can say this for a fact from my own experience and from another close friend's experience, a lot of time they look one-sided and it don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But again, and he used to tell me this all the time, I used to hate when he said that to me, but it makes sense. Get out of your own way. You have to get out of your own way. If you keep doing the same thing and you want a different result, it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
That's the definition of insanity.
Yep.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Back up, reflect, and don't react. What have I done differently, or what have I done the same that I can do differently? But the only goal or focus of all of it is to be better all the way around. That's the only motive.
So Charles Etta said, you see a difference, you give a difference.
Mm-hmm,
It says, to know my spouse is willing that, to know my spouse is willing then that, I guess,
that assists
me in wanting to be willing to
give
give
love
love.
and communicate.
Yeah, I think that's thank you, Charles Etta. It's uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
when you're upset and you don't feel like you're getting any traction on the ground.
Yeah.
But you have to be brave. This is about love is brave. Brave means you willing to do something outside of the box. You willing to do something that's just totally uncharacteristic. You willing to do something that's above and outside of whatever you thought you could do.
Right.
But you ask for that extra, that extra, that extra, that extra. I'm tired, I saw that, but you need to keep going. You need to keep giving. You know, this ain't just for you. This is for your family. And so...
And I do believe that God at times don't put people together. But when that does happen, because your ears and your heart wasn't open to hear from God in that area. But can it change?
Yeah.
Yes, it can. For the better. Yes, it can. It's possible. That can happen. You got in it. Now what? God saves us from our own mess all the time. What it say? Take our mess and turn it into our test and turn it into a testimony.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, you know, we say it's a young lady on TikTok, and I really, really admire her for what she's doing. She does this little 3-person skit where she's God, she's herself, and then she's an angel. And she's asking God, well, God, you know, what do you think about this guy? Should I go out with him? And God's sitting up there talking about, no. You know, well, you know, I'm going to find out for myself. You know, and you just totally disregard what he said. You go do it anyway, but then God still sends his angels out there to protect you.
Yeah.
Again, things can change. Yes, we get tired. We get tired when we're doing it by ourselves. But just like, who was it that was holding their arms up?
I think they was holding. So I can't remember who it was, but they was holding up Moses' arms and
they was. But who? I don't know. It was one on each side. But when his arms got tired, there were 2 other people to hold his arms up. So what I'm saying is, even in all of that, you have support. You're not by yourself. That's why I said that. What you looking for?
I'm just looking at some scriptures for bravery.
Okay.
And in Joshua 1:9 it says, remember that I have commanded you to be determined and confident. Don't be afraid or discouraged. It says, for the Lord your God, I am with you wherever you go. So, you know, that's Joshua 1:9. Remember that I have commanded you to be determined and confident. Don't be afraid or discouraged, for I, the Lord your God, am with you wherever you go. And so that's even when you're having a battle, like you had already said in the beginning, in your mind.
Right.
You having a battle in your mind, you know. And so
that's 1,000% on point. She said doing outside the norm.
And then our next comment, can you scroll down some?
That's it.
That's it. So everything isn't going to please everyone. It says it's not meant to please everyone. You should focus on pleasing God. Everything else shall fall in line.
Yeah.
But the thing is having the courage to be able to get out your way and allow him to do the work.
And it's hard. I can truly say that, you know, that's hard. You know, well, it wasn't like this before. What happened? We get older. We was just talking about this last night. People change, needs change.
Yeah. People change and needs change, and we're going to have an activity at the very close to
But that's where you have to stop looking for the you have to stop looking for the accolades. You have to stop looking for the acknowledgement. Because when you look for it and don't get it, it just dig you further down into a darker hole. So when you stop looking for it from other people and do it for yourself and focus on what God says and thinks about you, then your mindset change. But it's also learning to identify the things that should change. We can't stay the same all the time, and we're getting older.
Yeah, and
we
it's
have
hard
to evolve.
and it's hard to change when you get older. So
yeah,
it's like bamming your head against a wall. But when your heart, if you choose your heart, and you want your heart to not feel in that way, and you know that God is the orchestrator, He is the ultimate example of love, unconditional, which sometimes has conditions, then you can see a difference. It's Easter weekend. Jesus took that sacrifice for every person, for all people. That's what our belief is. If you don't believe that, that's okay. I ain't gonna, we don't have to agree. But to take on all sin for all humanity in every language, in every walk of life, and take on all of that, had to be brave.
Right.
And that means he got backstabbed. He got talked down to. He got disrespected.
Yeah, disregarded.
Disregarded. Nobody took him serious sometimes. He was a joke. But
and you know what? You do have it. You had that. You had it. You think you don't, but you have it.
Yeah, you do. And again, I'm going to say this because, I don't know, just like that, when a person is never feeling as though they are validated, you're going to have a serious problem.
Right.
And if the spouse has done something positive in the effort of change, and it might not be with you, it might be with the children, it might be with some things around the house, it might be with things that they hadn't done but they're doing, and that is not acknowledged, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to acknowledge that because that's not what I'm looking for. Wrong answer, wrong response, wedge being driven deeper down.
Right.
So,
but again, I think what makes it worse is when you're doing it. It's like the kid that says, "Look, Mom, I'm doing this," and Mom over there got headphones in, washing dishes, and child, look, you don't see me doing this, and so you're not acknowledged. So I think really, again, going along with that, once we stop looking for it from somebody else and learn how to validate ourselves, it doesn't make it. How can I put it? It doesn't. It makes it a little bit easier to deal with because you're not doing it for their sake. You're doing it for yours.
Yeah.
You're doing it for your sake, and then once you're doing it for your sake, and you're happy with the change that you're making in yourself because you really notice it, and it becomes natural. Then they'll start to acknowledge it. They may not ever say anything. But you have to be diligent and vigilant and just keep moving forward in that.
But this has been great conversation to be able to speak upon, how we feel, how we feel about things. But the bravery comes in this. Focus on you.
Yeah. And you know what? What I want to say, going back to the last statement that LaWanda made, you have to evaluate because you have to realize what all is on the line. If I stop doing this, what is going to die? What's going to suffer the consequences from me giving up? Even if it's just me and God, what's going to suffer the consequences if I give up?
Yeah.
And that's a lot to think about.
It's a lot to shoulder. But if you're brave enough, it won't even be a second thought you'll do it. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how tired your hands is up in the air. When nobody else will hold your hands up in the air, God will make sure that He have your hands will be in His hands.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you're at the 9th hour, it's just what it can't be that the person don't have nothing to bring to the table. They don't do anything. you know, I would hope that that's not the situation. But what I will say is this: is that you know your love for all of that is going to have to be key.
But see, I think that's the thing. We have to stop looking for what the other person needs to do. That's something that I had to do. Excuse me. And I'm being very candid for myself. I had to stop looking at what he's doing, what is he not doing. What am I doing? And what am I doing that I could do better? Or what am I not doing that I should be doing? So one of the main things is, yes, Charzetta, is bondage. That's the thing that keeps you in bondage because you're so busy looking at somebody else instead of, like the thing said, what's going on with you? Look at yourself first. Stop reflecting on them and just reflect on yourself. Try to make yourself better or make changes that you desire in yourself but never had the time as a busy wife, mom, you know, and all this other stuff going on. What haven't I had the time to do for myself or think about of myself? Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking from personal experience. When you get your eyes off of what the other person is doing or not doing, it makes a difference.
Nope, I don't agree with that one either.
You see the value in yourself.
You see the value in yourself, but I guess I refuse to believe that unless it's like a verbally abusive situation with somebody, is that they don't see no value in the person at all.
Yeah, then that would be a different.
But if you taking care of the kids, and you're doing things, however y'all share responsibilities, whether it's cleaning the house or washing clothes or whatever it is, somebody's doing something. Somebody's taking care of something, and that is a place of celebration.
But I understand, LaWanda, I understand what you're saying though. Because again, personal experience, I've been there too. I feel like didn't nobody value me. Just flat out. I'm like, I do all of this and blah, 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 whatever. Don't get no accolades, no recognition for none of that. And especially don't make it no better when the kids cut up and clown. And it's like, okay. Now, if I wasn't doing all of this, then where would they be? You know what I'm saying? So all of that stuff goes into play. But again, you just have to step back, reflect on yourself, and value yourself. And that's one thing I had to do was really focus on what God thought about me and what His plans are for myself, or what His plans are for me.
Yeah, you gotta really, you know, we was in a tough place. From August until it was in a tough place.
Yeah.
And so it took some work, but we was willing to do
that.
About
5-6 months.
Yeah. So I'm going to read this devotional, and then we're going to ask something. Okay.
I think we need to get together.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to get together. I'll call you when we're done.
And I believe that, Ms. Charzetta, you got to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
If you know you're doing something, if you tried and you made a change in the way you respond, then that gives you the strength and the bravery to do another thing. Yeah. Even if because like I said, the self, you, the person, if you know, hey, I didn't respond like this, even though it was boiling up and I was about to let about 10 or 15 words come out of my mouth.
Yep.
Maybe I only let out one. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't 15. Right. You know, but whatever it is, yes, you pat yourself on the back. I executed some restraint. Or instead of me just firing back with a quick response, I didn't fire back.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
Or it could be something as simple as, God, I didn't wear my feelings on my face. And that's big for me.
Oh, yeah, but I ain't got that
yet. But that's big for me because especially when I have been wronged, hurt, whatever, it take a lot for me to not wear it on my face. Not saying that I'm trying to mask it, but if I'm trying to change within myself, if I'm trying to get my brain to understand that I have control over how I let other people make me feel. Because this is me. Once you get to that knowledge, then it puts a different spin on things. It still takes some time. It still takes some work. But it still makes things different.
I want to read what Olivia said first and then we'll go down.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, good morning. I can understand when he doesn't see your efforts because what you do is the norm around the home. I believe sometimes you have to remind your partner of what you do and all the efforts. Make it known and remind them. So, I really just want to reiterate about really looking at you as a person and how you, one, need to value yourself, and then two, you're just going to have to take that serious look. You have to have this serious look at how you are as a person, because if a person is checking out, then you have to ask yourself that hard question. Why is this person checking out in a conversation where it's a conversation that needs to be had or whatever? My face is going to be on my face. Now, my response will be different. I got to work on how my face looks when somebody says something like, I'm like, well, wait a minute now. But I'm working on that. But let me read the devotional, because there's an activity that you're going to do, but it's not going to be with us. It's going to be with your spouse. Okay, so it says we carry some terrible secrets. We carry some terrible secret worries. And check this out. It says, will God accept me after what I've done? I know sometimes we think about that. Will I ever win this battle with sin? Is God going to give up on me? We carry insecurity sometimes into our marriage as well. If I gain more weight, will he want someone else? If I lose my job, will I lose her respect? Are we ever going to figure out how to be happy? It seems like that's where we are today with some of the questions that's been going on today. God has the answer to every question. Love. When you trust in his perfect love, you're no longer scared of the future. Because a lot of what we've been talking about is about how I'm going to have a future with a person when I don't feel validated, when I don't feel respected, when I don't feel appreciated, when I feel like I'm by myself, like I'm introverted, I'm cut off, So we're going to keep reading. It says you don't have to worry that your mistakes will erase your salvation in Jesus. Threats of abandonment and rejection melt away because you trust in God because of that perfect love. It says you can give yourselves to each other without the fear of divorce. You're motivated to work through issues since you're in it for life. Remind yourself of your commitment. You can be honest and real, and there have been some real comments today. It says you can be honest and real. You know you're on each other's side no matter what. Release your fears through prayer. I'm going to say that again. Release your fears through prayer, praising God for his perfect love. Celebrate your marriage and the vows you're keeping for life. Discover the peace that only love can bring. Because we were talking about how love is brave. And so we have to be brave enough that no matter how many punches we take, no matter how many bullets hit the shield, that we're willing to take another step, that we're willing to take another. See, that's what a champion does, because a lot of times they're knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they're done, but then a hand comes up and you see them push their hands on the ground and a foot gets up. And why would you get back up? To get back into a fight that everybody say that you shouldn't win.
Right.
So I'm going to say it like this. Why would you put your hand on the ground? Why would you put your knee on the ground? Why would you push up with your hands, elbows, and shoulders to stand up and get back into a fight that the devil says that you're not going to win?
I want to address that. I want to address what LaWanda said.
Okay.
So that's a real issue. Because if that's the case, then it makes sense why you're tired. You came from that, you married that because that's what you were comfortable with. But that still does not mean change cannot take place even in the midst of all of that. But that's what I'm saying. It may come off like they don't care in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to care about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You got to invest in yourself. And what I mean by investing in yourself again is not looking at them to acknowledge everything, because it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do it for the accolades. Do it because you want to change things within yourself.
All right, it's 8:54. I'm going to ask you to do something that is going to totally transform all of the conversations that we've had today.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it yesterday because I wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So, it's a dangerous question.
Okay.
It's a scary question. So, I want you, whether you're married or engaged, or it's your boyfriend or girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to ask them this question. Are you ready? Because it's going to seem like it's something simple.
Yeah, antennas need to go up. This is really, really, really important, especially with today's conversation.
I want you to ask your spouse or your fiance or your girlfriend or boyfriend, if your goal is to get married, what do you need from me? It takes you out of the equation because you're asking the person that you fell in love with, that you've been connected with all these years or all these months or all these days, what do you need from me? Want is not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I am asking you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to turn and I'm going to face my wife. She's not going to respond because she said she got the right hood, so I may have to get a book. I told her yesterday what I needed. So when you look at them and you ask them, what do you need from me? It takes you out of where you're thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking them what they need from you. And you need to be 1,000% paying attention and attentive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that you're going to do all of that in the next 10 minutes or the next 10 days.
Right.
But if they're telling you what they need from you,
mm-hmm.
it could be different from anything you ever had.
Right.
Why? It's because their needs may have changed and you may not be aware.
So, my girlfriend put me on the spot here. She say, answer the question.
No, what I asked her yesterday, and I told her, I gave her options, see.
So what I do need from you is for you to continue doing what you've been doing for the last 3 months.
Yay. I get an accolade. No, okay.
No, seriously, what I need from you is to make sure that you continue to put me first after God before anybody else. What I need from you is to make sure that I understand without a shadow of a doubt that you got my back and you're on my side.
I can do that. All right. So she wouldn't say that yesterday. Yeah, you hear me? He wouldn't even say it. So I said, so I'm telling you this, one, you might not like what you hear because you might be totally out of sync. That they would say something that you didn't even think that was important to them. But again, Millicent and I have been married for 26 years, and sometimes those needs will change. So, what Millicent explained to me is things that there was areas, tender areas, very sensitive areas, but to do the work, we had to have those conversations. And even when the conversations they would start off good and we would get to a point and then they would get ugly. So what we did was we kept on the positive side and we kept on doing that. So that's what we kept doing. And it was like we was chiseling away at the foolishness in ourselves, because it really was us, right? There were some things that I was doing, there were some things that she was doing. We just kept chiseling away from that, but we did go and we asked for help.
Right.
We talked to a couple that we know we had our respect.
My brother told me that I need to ask you, what do you need from me?
I told you yesterday, don't put me on the spot, Bryce. I did it first yesterday. I'm not doing that right here. This is not,
Come on, we keeping it real.
No, but seriously, no, we talked yesterday. And so the things that I told you yesterday, I just need you to be, supportive and just, I want to do things with you. You my companion, and so that makes it a closeness. I don't always like to go shopping and all that stuff. That's not really my thing. But I like doing things with you. And so stuff that y'all might think is for, yard work and all that stuff, you would not believe that, she's willing to get out there and do that stuff with me. But doing stuff together, or if it's a theme that we have, or something I got at work, I might have a vision of what I want it to be, but I'll ask her because I need her to help me out. But just supporting me and just let's do things together. That's the biggest thing for me right now, because other stuff that we was facing, that's not what we're really facing. So we're choosing to do those things that make us happy. So when we're doing things together, when we make goals, that's what I want. How we set goals and then we go after that stuff and we get it. That's important to me because that causes me to have to support you. That causes you to have to support me. And then when we feel like we ain't going to reach that goal, what did we do or what we didn't do? It ain't even got about what I did or what you did. It's what we set the goal together.
But then that causes us to go back and reflect and replan. And move forward.
So we set goals together. So that's what I need from her. Support and then just continue to do the companionship, because it's a lot of stuff that we do together. It's a lot of stuff that we do to support each other. Even if I may not think that something may work or whatever, if it's something that she wants to do, I'll be there for her. And then if it works, fine. If it don't, we keep moving.
Right.
But the thing is, when you ask your spouse, because now it's 1 minute after 9, and we probably lost our Instagram feed.
No, because we started a little later, but we close.
Okay, so you ask the person, what do they need from you? That's serious.
And you can do like I did last night. If you're not saying that you're not sure about what your answer is, but you want to make sure you formulate it in a way that they really understand, then you say, okay, just like I did, well, I need a little bit. I need some time. And your needs change.
That's my biggest point in asking that question. Because when you find out it's something that you never thought about, then that could be why you don't have the connection.
Right.
Because the need is different. And the person now is telling you what the need is. The most important thing that I want to share with you is that once a person tells you what the need is, then it goes back to what the actor did. You keep reading over and over what that need is. How do I make that happen? What do I need to do? Ain't nothing I'm willing to do. I'm not willing to do that. Right. Jesus didn't say he wasn't willing to do that. I ain't willing to do that for Lord, not for them people.
Yeah.
I ain't going down that down for them. Look at them. Look at him. Look, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
He didn't say that. And so.
So we talked about that last night too. After you asked that question, what do you need from me? Then you yourself have to think about, are you willing to do that?
Are you willing to do it? That's right. So I think that if you ask that question and they tell you, then you need to figure out and get your pride out the way and ask God to break that and give that person what they need. This is not what they want, like they're asking you for a pair of boots or a car stereo or some gold or some rings or some clothes.
Right.
You know, or go get something from doggone favorite place. This is something that's every day.
Yeah.
This is something that I need from you.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about what I want. I need. This is something that I need from you. And if you do that, if you do that, and you ask God to come in and help you with how you can make that happen, then you are now putting the needs of somebody else ahead of yourself. And that's like the perfect definition of love. Yeah. Because you're putting others before yourself.
Bryce trying to tell you that you didn't really answer that question on an in-depth level.
I'm not going to ever answer a question on an in-depth level because it takes me a while to say something. You already know that.
Yeah.
But I told you.
So process it.
I did process it. Those are the two things that I need from you because we've been doing the work. We've been doing the work. So things that was in the way before, those things are not in the way.
Yeah.
The way you was responding then, you're responding now.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, we know that.
But Bryce, it really was that the situation that we was in. It was really bad.
Yeah.
And so it was just nothing. It was bad, ugly.
Yeah.
And so
it is still a work in progress, but it's nowhere near on the level that it was at all. Not at all. You know. So
that's why I wasn't speaking about all the other stuff because she actually, if the changes are there, there's really nothing else to really say about that. I think because then it pushes us to, let me see how I want to say it. It just pushes us to be mindful of what that is. Trying to think. I'm trying to make sure I ain't missing nothing.
I got an appointment.
You got an appointment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The one that I'm going to call you on the way to my appointment. I mean, Bryce, that's what it's all about is just being because if you're not transparent, how can you help somebody else that might be going through the same thing? You know, and so that's all what our Marriage Matters is about is uplifting, elevating, and, you know, pushing other people, cheering other people on to be their best in their marriage and individually. So that's what it's about. So that's why we get on here every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock and spend time with y'all and engage in great conversation. And that's why we love what we do. We don't get paid for this.
No,
but we do it because that's what God put on our heart and we were called to do that.
Yeah.
So whatever He got in store for us to do, that's what we're here for. So we're going to let y'all go.
Yes.
We love and appreciate you all.
Do the work.
I have an appointment too, Millicent. Schedule something for the ladies. Yes, ma'am, I will. I'm getting ready to call you as soon as I walk out the door. So answer your phone, Mrs. Lindsay. I'm getting ready to call you.
We'll be right behind you sometimes.
I'm getting ready to call you. Answer your phone now. So we love and appreciate you guys, and we'll see you all next Saturday. We love you too. And we'll discuss more Marriage Matters.
Because your marriage matters.
Bye. Love you guys.
Do I need to cut this off? Did it go off?
Stop. And share the Instagram. Next.
Okay.
Post. Okay.
Do I need to end it right here?